Thanks to the swirling turmoil in golf over the past months, Rory McIlroy and Graeme McDowell have found each other on opposite sides of the bitter civil war between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. With the countrymen growing apart because of it, all eyes were staring at the LIV Rebel with rapt attention when he opened up on what truly transpired between the once inseparable buddies and where their hearts lie now. Enmity or amity? Has the derailment led the pair to a land of no return, or are they going in circles and bound for reconciliation? When the breakaway circuit LIV Golf got launched, McDowell became one of the biggest names to decamp to what seemed like greener pastures. Or at least, in Benjamin's, competing for Cleeks GC along with Martin Kamer, Bernd Wiesberger, and Richard Bland, the Irishman supported the Saudi-backed circuit in full swing. The same could not be said for the four-time major champion and compatriot McIlroy. While McDowell was fighting for his new side, Rory became one of its most prominent antagonists. Standing on two different sides of golf's coin, the pair must not have been particularly pleased with each other's stance. With emotions high in the heat of legal battles and a war of words between both camps, the relationships caught in the crossfire cracked. Asked by the press about the current relationship between the Irishmen, Graeme McDowell insisted that they still remain very close, regardless of the external conflict, and that they had not seen each other as much as he would have liked thanks to their busy schedules. Myself, Rory, and Shane are very close and have remained so through this process. I haven't seen the guys, so that's the problem. But that is because of the way the schedules are. He adds, I've been in one part of the world but remained in contact, always looking out for them and always pulling for both of them, and I think the same from their side as well. It's no longer news that the fierce hostilities between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf have come to an end, thanks to the shocking agreement with the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia for the creation of a new entity that would accommodate the triumvirate factions, DP, LIV, and the PGA, and see them work together in a merger called NewCo. Ever since its announcement, the bombshell merger evoked mixed reactions, debates, and countless opinions from players and fans alike. Nevertheless, Graeme McDowell also revealed he challenged himself to sit down with Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy for an open discussion about the merger. Pause. How would you imagine the conversation ended? Good note? Bad note? A gray area? Get ready for the shock of your lives. According to the Northern Irishman, the discussion ended on a positive note, and they're all hopeful the merger brings good tidings for golf. I don't think any of us wanted the last 15 months of negativity. We're all positive about where the game of golf is going to. One thing is for sure though, Graeme McDowell is being hella mature and critical of what is to come. Instead of being blinded by the optimism of the merger being a total upside, he expresses a contrary opinion. He believes the PGA LIV merger is twofold. On the one hand, he believes it is good that the merger has gotten massive amounts of attention, coverage, and discussions, be it good or bad, as it goes a long way to create awareness for the sport. What's it people always say? There's no such thing as bad publicity? Yeah? Well, you get the gist. Alas, on the flip side, he believes the deal has its fair share of cons that could inadvertently drag the game of golf down from a negative perspective, specifically the public opinion of Saudi Arabia heavily engaging in sports washing. Regardless of the uncertainties, the big winner is Graeme McDowell, who is happy to brag to everyone about his best buddies. That being said, it is still worth mentioning that Rory McIlroy has absolutely no plans to join McDowell on the breakaway circuit anytime soon. Yes, the proposed merger has long been made public, with its debut fast approaching. McIlroy still claims he would rather make a shock retirement than join LIV Golf. Speaking at the Scottish Open, he boldly stated, if LIV Golf was the last place to play golf on earth, I would retire. That's how I feel about it. Hold on, guys. His statement comes merely weeks after claiming he hated the fact there was an agreement in the first place. Getting frustrated with the then headlines of the merger, only one thing was on his mind. That's the thing. I still hate LIV. I hope it goes away, and I would fully expect that it does. That's where the distinction here is. This is the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the PIF. Very different from LIV. With Rory McIlroy once being vehemently against the idea of a merger, it makes us ponder what exactly brought about the change of heart. Could Graeme McDowell's passionate discussion have made him see the light? Or, in a bizarre twist, Was McIlroy only telling his countrymen what he needed to hear? There's a lot to unpack here. Be that as it may, we are happy to see bridges built among the stakeholders and relationships restored. Sergio Garcia opening up on his relationship with McIlroy is still fresh in the memory. For so many years, the pair were good friends. They played alongside each other for years in the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and teammates in the Ryder Cup. However, everything took an abrupt turn when the Spaniard accepted a $40 million offer to join the Saudi Arabia-funded Breakaway Tour. To be blunt, his rebellious decision led to a fallout in their relationship, which was clearly a close one, with McIlroy even acting as a groomsman at Garcia's wedding. Alas, it didn't take long for the pair to be at each other's throats. McIlroy had our mouths wide open in shock when he revealed Garcia demanded him to shut up about the breakaway competition. In response, the Northern Irishman exchanged, unpleasant pleasantries. However, while the powers that be put their differences aside by agreeing on a merger, the buddy golfers probably thought, why not? The pair took advantage of each other's presence at the US Open to catch up and bury the hatchet. When the Spanish star spoke to the press ahead of LIV's Andalusia event, he couldn't help but enthusiastically say, "I've got my friend back," referring to Rory McIlroy, of course. A friend that I kind of felt like I lost in the last year or so. We talked and we had a great conversation, and I feel like I have that friend back, and that to me means a lot. All the same, now that the trio of Rory McIlroy, Sergio Garcia, and Graeme McDowell are seemingly back to being as thick as thieves, or at least on the path to get there, it is hardly a surprise that McDowell is itching to pick his clubs up and head to a golf course along with McIlroy and Garcia. As you probably already know, Sergio Garcia's love affair with the match play event appeared to have come to a sudden, heartbreaking end earlier this year after he was forced to resign his DP World Tour membership, which ultimately meant the same for his Ryder Cup eligibility. As things stand, the ban placed on LIV golfers makes no sense, right? After all, the so-called merger means the three tours will be working together under one entity. With all things being equal, LIV stars would be able to have their cards reinstated, albeit with a bit of hassle. On the back of this, one man who would love to see Rory McIlroy and Sergio Garcia share a Ryder Cup stage once again is, you guessed it, LIV star Graeme McDowell. Speaking on the Bunkered podcast, he said, "From a playing personnel point of view, definitely a couple of lads are here on LIV, certain Spanish individual, Garcia, who's still pretty good at golf. Maybe we will see Garcia and McIlroy bouncing down the fairways in Italy at this year's Ryder Cup. That would be cool." In retrospect, Graeme McDowell's hopes of McIlroy and Sergio Garcia playing together at this year's Ryder Cup is near impossible. The big event is barely months away, and to make matters worse, the process of getting access cards reinstated is not exactly straightforward either. Nevertheless, we can't have it all. The truly important lesson today can be seen in the story of McDowell, McIlroy, and Garcia. From friendship to fallout, and now back to close terms again, the tale of their rekindled bond is a testament to the power of passion and forgiveness. Their resolve to build bridges and break the gap caused by their loyalty to what felt right reminds us to weather even the toughest storms. After all, the toughest storms make the best sailors. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with the latest news in the world of golfing.